hear me. I hope the sound system is working well enough. We are here on September the 30th to recognize the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Thank you everybody for being here. I am joined here by members of the council behind me. Doug Gray, White Eagle, thank you for being here. White Eagle will be performing a smudging ceremony on July the 1st. We had a similar ceremony and we were very, very impressed with White Eagle. The message that he brought to us, the knowledge that he has, the wisdom that he has. So thank you for being here and bringing that knowledge to us this morning for the town of Bradford West Gwillimbury. I will start with the land acknowledgement. The town of Bradford West Gwillimbury acknowledges that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Nishnawbe Nation, which includes the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. We also recognize the Huron-Wendat, who occupied these lands prior to the middle of the 17th century. We embrace the enduring presence of the Indigenous peoples of this region, including the Chippewa Tri-Council First Nations, comprised of the Beausoleil First Nations, the Chippewa of Rama, and the Georgina Island First Nation. We would also like to recognize the diverse Métis and Inuit communities within our region. The town of Bradford West Gwillimbury is dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to coming together to heal, create future prosperity, and respect and understanding in all of our communities. So I'm going to play the Canadian National Anthem that we had on July the 1st. That is an Ojibwe version of the Canadian National Anthem. Thank you, everybody. So the town of Bradford West Gwillimbury at our last council meeting had a recommendation, and I'll read that, and then we are going to have a flag raising, and then we will lower the flag to half-mast, as well as the provincial and Canadian flag. And the flag that we are raising, I wonder, Mark and members of council, if you want to just display it. It is the Canadian Indigenous flag. It was designed by Curtis Wilson of the Kwakwaka'wakw Nation in British Columbia. And that we will be using this flag to represent the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. So the recommendation that the Town Council supported was, whereas the Truth and Reconciliation Commission released its final report on June the 2nd, 2015, which included 94 calls to action to redress the legacy of residential schools and advance the process of Canadian reconciliation. Whereas the recent discoveries of remains of unmarked graves across Canada have led to increased calls for all levels of government to address the recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action. Whereas all Canadians and all orders of government have a role to play in reconciliation. Whereas recommendation number 80 of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission called upon the federal government in collaboration with the Aboriginal peoples to establish as a statutory holiday a National Day for Truth and Reconciliation to ensure that public commemoration of the history and legacy of residential schools remains a vital component of the reconciliation process. And whereas the federal government has announced September the 30th, 2021 as the first National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, National Orange Shirt Day, and a statutory holiday, therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Bradford West Gwillimbury does hereby commit to recognize the September 30th, 2021 as the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation by sharing the stories of residential school survivors, their families, and communities. So White Eagle, will you join us? And we will raise the flag this time.
Thank you. My name is White Eagle, and my mother was from the shores of Atlantic Canada and was one of the children that were taken when they were very young. And some never saw their parents again. So today we're here to remember those families, those children. And truth and reconciliation begins with the family, begins with each one of us in our homes. It's learning to be honest. And sometimes honesty is painful, because to say I'm sorry sometimes is very difficult for people. So what we want to do today is I'm inviting you to come, and I'm extending my traditional paddle, which has traveled the world with me in ceremonies and will carry the different countries that this paddle has been in. And so I extend to you today, come with our people back into the history, back to the mountains of confusion and darkness, and into the valleys of peace, where we today will gather. And once again, I've brought a traditional blanket, and we are carriers of the sacred blankets. And grandmothers would make these blankets, and they would carry them to ceremony. And so I'm going to ask that those people, now what they're doing is they're unfolding this blanket that was made by grandmothers who have since passed. And today you'll see a chair in front of us, and that chair is the ancestral chair That is the chair that is placed there in memory of your ancestors. For without them, you would not be here. Without their sacrifices, you would not even know their pain and their anguish. So we've asked the elders to open this blanket today to officially open the ceremony. And at ceremony, the blanket was opened and lifted up. And as they hold the blanket, I will have speak with our Creator. O Creator, who has given us the moon, the stars, the sun, in the days of our lives, accept this, another ceremony, another celebration of the journey on this sacred planet called Mother Earth. And to those children whose remains have been found in gutters, fields, throughout the world, we honor them. And I want everyone to take your hand and place your hand on your heart. Good. All hands on hearts. And I want us to close our eyes and in a moment of silence, honor the elders, honor those victims who were unable to speak for themselves. We honor them now in a moment of silence. And together with me, we say, Miigwech, Miigwech, Miigwech. Thank you. You can lower the blanket now onto the ground. Good. So the blanket, the traditional blanket has been opened. The paddle has been extended to everyone to come and to join us today in this journey. Thank you. Today we, at the ancestral chair, there's a name that is Vida Vitae Metta. And this is a lady who, as we speak, her body is in Markham. And her ceremony will begin tomorrow at 104 years old. And long, long ago, this young woman saw the need to teach women. And so she went to a prestigious health school and basically learned to become a midwife. And she's traveled throughout India throughout her years, basically encouraging, instructing, and teaching young women to become midwives. This lady delivered over between 500 to 1,000 children in her lifetime. And today it's appropriate that we place her name on the elder's chair and remember that she was ahead of her time, because in those times women were not given the voice, and she just took it upon herself. And because of her, the world is a better place. And women throughout India and throughout the world are learning and teaching and continuing her legacy. So to those, we again place our hand on our hearts for her. And we put the paddle down. It's said that when we arrive here on this sacred star, everybody gets a canoe. Yeah, you all get a canoe. And the wonderful, but you don't get a paddle, because as human beings, we want to control. We have this insatiable need to control things. And the universe doesn't act like that. It unfolds. And what we have to do, to listen and to join in with all of the different sounds. The raven calls, and the raven in our teachings is the voice of the big bow. So raven takes his flight. And the bee is at the ancestral chair. What does bee's message say to us? Just be. Just be. Be thankful. Be in gratitude. And be ever kind in our thoughts. And now, what I'm going to do is a smudge. How many have not been smudged before? Put up your hand. Oh, good, we got some newies. So good. So what we're going to do is we're going to light the smudge. So what we're going to do now is we have the sacred smudge, which is the sage. And it dispels all negativity, all toxicity. And we come today from all different directions, all different religions, beliefs, and yet we come together as one. And we meet at the common meeting place of the heart. And you know, we have to understand that we were all children. We are all children. And so every child matters. No matter how old they are, as Meta here, Vita, at 104, took her final breath one night ago. And you know, just as Creator gave us our first breath, and we've carried that breath through our lifetime, the Creator takes back our final breath because we are free. And today we are free. We are free as a people to learn and to grow and to be thankful. So now what I want you to do is to, with one hand on your heart, I want you to take your hand and move over your hips 3 times. 1, 2. Hands over your head. Now 3 times to your heart. 1, 2, 3. To our B. To our ancestors who sacrificed us, we may never even know. But because of those sacrifices, our lives have been made easier, and we are blessed. Never forget where you came from and their challenges. And today we celebrate now this wonderful event when finally the sun has broken through the darkness and we're free. We're free to speak our own language. We're free to grow our hair long again if we want to have our hair long. We're free because we're born free. And that's the way we should be. So tonight, when you go home and in a moment of silence, in your own special sacred space, simply hold your hand on your heart. How we say, and I always help my students, remember how you can remember the word megwitch. Megwitch means from Creator's heart to my heart to your heart. Thank you. And how we can remember that is say, make a wish. Hold your hand on your heart, make a wish. Make a wish, make a wish. And it becomes the word, megwitch. So now the ceremony is opened and we are celebrating the joy of being free. And we honor those children. We honor all lives and all life, not just two-leggeds, but the four-legged children of the forest, the feathered children of the sky, the creepy crawlers of the earth, and the water children of the great waters, and the two-leggeds. We honor our ancestors. And today we celebrate together in oneness of spirit the sacred drum. The drum is the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And to each one of us, we have a drum that beats within us. And one day that drum will stop. Because everyone, every leaf, every tree, every fish, every bird has its time. To everything a season, a time. And this is our time today to come together, celebrate, and to remember, and to in prayerfully thankfulness that the world has changed. And hopefully we can make the world a better place. I am White Eagle, and my mother was one of those children taken. And because of her experience, we were kept away from Native community because she was afraid that they would come and take her children and she would never see them again. And my mother lived with that fear all of her life. And as she grew old and became Alzheimeric, you know, Alzheimer's has an upside and a downside. And for my mother, the upside was that she forgot all the pain and all of those painful memories. And she was able to leave this planet at peace. And so it took away those painful memories. So now for the council, who do a fine job and speak. They are the chosen ones to speak for the people and to speak on your behalf, and are doing an excellent job. To those councilmen and to the job that they have ahead of them and their challenges, we honor them. And together we say, make which? Make which? Make which? And now could we have the people come back, please, now, to fold the blanket? to those children who have been honored this day, and to those that have come and attended. We honor them. Bless the families. And we put all our love into the blanket. And now we close the ceremony by folding the traditional blanket. And you know, back in history, the grandmothers would travel many, many miles. My wife and I would travel every morning at 5 o'clock. We would go to our teepees out in Regina. And there would be people that would come 8 and 9 hours drive to get to our teepees. And we were just one of many teepees and healers, traditional healers. And what we need to do today is a healing of the heart. And if you take the H off of heart and put on the other end, you have earth. So we heal the heart, we can heal the earth. Heal the earth, and we can heal the heart. And so now with our hands on our hearts, we bring this official ceremony to a close, and we have the eldest, 104-year-old elder that we honor today. And who is that? Can you bring it for her? Is it a she or a he?
1 month old.
1 month old. So wow, here's a journey. Is it a boy? Is it a boy?
The boy.
What's his name? Theodore. And he's 1 month old. Look at that. What I'm going to do is just there. I'm going to give him his native name. His name is Young Raven, the witch. We gave him a native name so that he has a name to carry throughout his journey. And he is Young Raven, the voice of the people. Thank you, Meg Witch. So we honored today the elders. We honored the newborns that are making their way back, and they will change the world because they are the hope of tomorrow. So thank you for coming, Meg Witch, and on behalf of my wife, Turtle Mother, and myself, White Eagle, we thank you, and thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, White Eagle. The knowledge, the compassion, and the stories that you have. Thank you for bringing that to us today. So at this time, we are going to lower the flag to half-mast. The National Day of Truth and Reconciliation is a sovereign day, a day to think, to understand, to read as much as we can about what has happened with our Indigenous community over the many, many years that the Europeans have been on this land. And now we lower the provincial flag. All three flags will be lowered to half-mast. Councillor Sandu, will you lower the provincial flag? Perugini will be back. So thank you everybody for joining us this morning. Again, thank you White Eagle and Miigwech.